Are you ready,
I'm
Rosemary?
ready, Sherry. Hey, let's let in the secret
Let's let
agent.
them in. Let's let them in. Here we go. Yay! Welcome.
Hey, secret agents.
Oh, good to see all of you.
Good to see you. Good
I
to
love
see
your
you.
giggle, Rosemary. We all just come for your giggle and your poems.
Okay. I'm giggling because I see Kristen is wearing her glorious pink and her wacky sunglasses, and you look
Oh,
amazing.
look,
Nobody would ever guess she was a secret agent.
look at look at you. Oh, all of you. So good to see you. Let's give it just 1 minute. We'll keep saying hello as people are still coming in. Oh, thank you all for being here. I
Good to
love
see
our
you. I'm just scrolling through the pages, looking at everybody's faces, seeing everybody's names. Welcome. Welcome.
so we do obviously have all of your beautiful voices muted at the moment, but if you've been with us before, you know that after we share a little bit of what we're doing here, then we'll open it up and we'll get to hear from those of you who want to share some thoughts and ideas. And Rosemary, I'm going to keep letting people in.
That's
If
a good idea. And I'm going to invite you, while Sherry's doing that, to put your name in the chat bar and where you're visiting from, joining us from. We'll know where all the secret agents are located.
But we won't share that with anybody. We'll
Not with anybody.
keep your identities very secret.
Nice to see you all. Good morning. Oh, there we see you from Berkeley and North Carolina and New Hampshire and Durango, Maryville and Washington and Wisconsin and England,
Oh,
Minneapolis,
I saw
Seattle.
Sleepy something. Sorry. That
I
was
think it
so
was maybe a sleepy Seattle. Oh, from Brattleboro, where I'm going to be next month. That's exciting. And Rue, hi Rue from Florida, Washington, and
and
Michigan.
Ithaca. I grew up near Ithaca. I just saw that sweep on by. Oh, welcome all of you.
Welcome, everybody. So this morning, Sherry sent me a text that I didn't see, but it said, "Hey, would you start us off this morning singing?" And I said, "Yes." And the song that I love singing more than any other to open, if you've been with me in groups before, my goodness, you have heard this song before, but maybe you can even sing along in your own room. It's from Rumi and just a little tune that I put to it. And actually, I even have some sign language that one of my students, Quinn, did for me. So I'll do that also with it. And so if you know the song, sing along. And if you don't, maybe just sing along with your ears. Um, Here we go. It's once again, the poem itself is by Rumi, a version by Danny Ladinsky. On a day when the wind is perfect, the sail just needs to open, and the world is full of beauty. Today is such a day. On a day when the wind is perfect, the sail just needs to open and the love starts. Today is such a day. Today is such a day to open the wind of the mind, or the sail of the mind and the sail of the heart, and to be moved by beauty and by love.
Rosemary, thank you. And I saw people signing with you and singing. It's so beautiful. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for singing and signing along, friends. All right, so welcome to Secret Agents of Change. Sherry and I always tell the story of how it began at the very beginning of our time together, and then we'll offer a secret mission. Well, the secret mission begins today with a story. It always also begins with poems. Well, with a poem, but today we have a bonus poem. Two poems, two for the price of one. And then Sherry will offer the ideas for the secret missions, and then we're going to open it up for everyone to talk about ideas about how you too might be surreptitiously spreading kindness in your community. Um, can maybe start though by just give us a wave. If this is your first secret agent mission, just give a big wave and let's say hi to all the new secret agents. Yes, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here.
Welcome, welcome.
And how about who has been on a mission before? Raise your hand and give us a wave. Yes, look at all the returning secret agents. Thank you for coming back. Some of you for many years. Great to have you with us all the time. So, Sherry, do you want to start telling the story of how Secret Agents of Change came to be?
I would love that. And just again, welcome. I love that we have so many both returning and new agents. And thank you, Rosemary. I love being here with you. So gosh, you know how many years ago, I keep forgetting.
I forget.
Yeah, who cares? Many years ago, I was taking a class on abundance. And I can't remember if they assigned us this or I thought of this or what, but I decided I was going to send a $5 bill and a note to people who had impacted my life that didn't know it. And I think I wanted to, the money was a way of just like, I wish I could give you thousands, but here, here's a token and may it grow or something like that. And I, like many of you, had been in love with Rosemary and her poems. I had actually also been very enchanted by, which we don't talk about much, but you have a TED Talk that was absolutely beautiful. I'm sure it's still out there if people want to find it. And so I sent Rosemary some gratitude in the mail.
And I got it. I got this $5 bill and this card and a little other some special things that she put in there. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's incredible. Somebody I did not even know just sent the sweetest kindness to me. It was amazing. And I was so stunned by it. I wrote a poem. Surprise, surprise. I wrote a poem about it called Secret Agents. And the idea of it was just hey, there's these people out there doing good things in the world and we don't even know they're there. They're just out there secretly doing good work. And every once in a while we get lucky and we run into them. So I wrote the poem and then I put it on Facebook along with a picture of of what Sherry had sent me. And there was a lot of feedback. People were saying things like, I want to be a secret agent. And that's when Sherry wrote me back and she said,
I mustered all my courage to write to this beautiful rock star of a poet. And I just, it was instant. And I think, ever since then, it's been the same way, right? Where it just was like, oh my goodness, something's happening, and I said to her, would you create something with me? Because there's this beautiful group of people who want to be secret agents. And, you said
and
yes.
and we started the Facebook group and we started that first time we did it for a whole week.
I know.
Uh, we did do that. We had a whole week of missions. Then we made it more sustainable by making it, just a few times a year, maybe 4 times a year, we have our secret missions. So, what we do, what's been the same though with every time we've done a mission, is we start with a poem and then we build into it submissions. That this is always part of our group is that it's secret, that we are not letting people know about the acts of kindness. Of course, those are wonderful too. We're not saying don't let people know you're being kind, but there is a good reason why this is surreptitious, Sherry.
Yes. So one of my favorite parts of this is because when we do things that are anonymous, I know from my own receiving of anonymous kindness, we start to look around the world like anybody could have offered this love and kindness. And I think what it does is it gives the sense that this is a kind world and this is a world where love can come from any direction, unexpectedly. And as well, for the giver, I love that piece of not expecting anything in return. So it's just such a beautiful thing. I mean, sometimes we get to, when we're lucky, we might peek around a corner or we might somehow get wind of the result of our love and kindness. But a lot of times we don't. So a lot of times what happens is we are the recipients of the joy of that act. And I think there's something really amazing about that piece too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's hence the secret part. And then, well, let's just jump in. We'll do that. And then we'll explain in just a little bit more about how you might share your missions once you've gone out and done them. But we'll begin with the story of this particular mission began when I was in California in April. And Sherry and I and our friend Allison Luderman were driving up to Sebastopol, which I know we have at least a couple Sebastopol agents. Rita. So when we were in the car, Sherry was talking about some socks. They're going to make maybe you should maybe you should even mention the sock story, Sherry.
Okay, so I've been thinking a lot lately about different people in my life who have had a great impact on me. And when a story I've told all my life, and I have not yet found this person, but I will, was when I was a much younger person, I was very repressed. I grew up in a small town in Ohio with what for me was a very constricting religion, and I really did not know how to express myself in the world at all, and very depressed, very anxious, like a lot of that. But thankfully, I had a professor who said, you need to go on this New York arts program and get out of small town. And when I went to this program, my roommate in New York, she was so expressed, so lovely, so alive. And one of the things that she did, she scrunched her socks, right? So instead of folding them down neatly like me with my little white socks, she just scrunched her socks. And you might be thinking, what? Who cares? But to me, that I'm still talking about it 40 years later because of, I mean, it represented to me her like complete self-expression. So Tracy in Kalamazoo, I love you. Yeah.
Well, so then Sherry was talking about how this had made such a profound impact on her life and how she wanted to write a letter to find this woman to thank her for it and how it was still affecting her. And wouldn't it be incredible if she could thank this woman for being who she was and the effect that small act made such a profound difference on someone else's life? And we started talking about it. We even named it that morning the legacy effect. And friends, this will be Operation Legacy Effect. So when Sherry said that, I said, "Oh yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot too, about how someone we may not even know that their act, it could be even a long time ago, profoundly affected ours. By the way, it's also called the butterfly effect. In there is a word for it in chaos theory, but so how is it that someone else's actions profoundly affect our lives? And so I've been thinking about it. And I said, Sherry, I wrote a poem about that. And I pulled out this poem and shared it with her. And it's the story of how I became a poet. And it's me kind of going back, thanking someone I've never met who ended up having a profound influence on my life. So this poem, friends, is called Poetic Lineage. Thank you, Alice Ungerer, for raising young children alone in Alsace after your husband died. It could not have been easy, especially during the German occupation. Hard enough to raise one child, much less four, even when the world is at peace. It is no surprise your son Tommy grew up to write political satire, considering how the Wehrmacht requisitioned your home. Is it strange for me to tell you, his mother, I'm grateful he wrote erotica, too? Did you know? Did he tell you? Not that I've read his erotica, just that I know this is how he met a Jewish man who grew up poor in Chicago, the son of immigrants who ran a bakery that failed, a man who became a cartoonist for an erotic magazine. Not that I have seen his erotic cartoons, but they must have caught your son's interest because he urged that man, Shell, to start drawing for kids. For kids. An erotic cartoonist. Can you imagine? Your son dragged him kicking and screaming into the office of Ursula Nordstrom at Harper and Row, the editor there, who thought your son was right. And Ursula encouraged Mr. Silverstein to make books for kids like me. Poetry books in which terrible things happened, but playfulness was always possible. Even when the little blue engine who looked up at the hill crashed. Even when the little girl who didn't get her pony died. Even when the man who fell in love with the bagpipe ended up lonely and alone. And because your son encouraged Shell, I read those books and laughed and learned poetry was fun and the process was full of pleasure, even when the stakes were high. Even when I write about the girl who didn't think she was good enough. Even when I write about how the whole cherry crop was ruined in 1 minute by hail. Even when I write about the woman whose son took his life. Oh, Alice Ungerer, dear woman, I will never know. Your life is so integral to mine. I don't know the color of your hair or the aches of your heart or what made you leap up in joy, but your choices have touched my life so profoundly, and I thank you for how my sensibilities have opened into a longing to turn toward the dark underbelly and find a way not just to look there, but to play. And I don't know if you can receive this, but I thank you, dear Alice, great grandmother of my words. How about that? Alice Ungerer, who grew up in Germany and raised 4 children, a woman I never knew existed, had a profound effect on my life because she raised this son who saw the potential in another man who didn't even want to write poems for kids. And yet, because he did, I fell in love with poems. It just was blew my mind that just thinking of that chain of humans, and who was it that baked Alice Ungerer's bread? I want to thank them too. I want to thank the man who made her shoes. I just think that how far does the legacy go? How deep is that legacy of how other people and their choices have affected our lives in ways that we will be forever grateful?
And Rosemary, I just got it in this moment. We would not all be here in right now without her. Like now we're a part of that same legacy and lineage. It's so phenomenal, isn't it?
It's so phenomenal. It just gets bigger all the time. It's infinite. It's this infinite connection of how every choice we make matters. That we even the smallest choices,
Even our socks matter.
even the sex. So I read that poem and Sherry, of course, I cried when I read it last time. I always get a little weepy about Alice Ungerer. So we get to Sebastopol. This is a long lead up to the to the mission today, friends. But we get to Sebastopol, and Sherry and I are sitting out underneath a lemon tree, and now you already know the story of the socks, so it'll make some sense. And this is going to lead us right into our mission today. So this poem, and you'll get these will be in the Facebook group, both of the poems. Sitting beside the Meyer lemon tree with Sherry, I wasn't thinking about the roots. I was thinking of the intensely sweet perfume, both heavy and bright in the cool spring air. I was thinking how much scent comes from such small, creamy flowers and how I want to save this floral fragrance like a portal for remembering Sherry in her black and white boots and her red poppy necklace and her red spectacles and the conversation we had earlier about what she called the legacy effect. in which we honor how events and actions from long ago still affect who we are today. Like the way she longs to find the woman from college who scrunched down her ankle socks instead of folding them neatly down. Sherry wants to write her a thank you letter for changing the way she saw the world, starting with her socks. Enamored as I was with the lemon tree scent, only later did it occur to me to thank not just the flowers, but the roots, shallow and fibrous. How many roots are inside each of us, spreading way beyond our own canopy? How long would the thank you list be if we named everyone and everything that made us who we are? How invisible and essential our perfume is their legacy.
Ugh, I love you. That is
Did you notice, friends, that Sherry is wearing the same red spectacles and the same red poppy necklace today? It's so perfect. Did you do that on purpose?
not re wearing the poppy necklace. I wish I were. I was thinking that when you were reading it. I have a different necklace, but anyway, I should have.
Well, you are wearing the same red glasses.
I am, and I love that. I also, if I had thought of it, I would have had some lemons behind me. That would have also been
Oh, that would have been good. That would
fun.
have been good. I'm going to put the poem in the chat bar so that people can read it again. Oh, it looks like I've made it a little too long. Here, I'll put it in two parts.
And just to give me, I'm putting my email in the chat as well because Laura had asked about accessing things if you aren't on the Facebook group. And just for a little side note here, we do have a mailing list. So for people who are on Facebook or even people who are, I just put my email. If you're not on our mailing list, if you didn't get any emails about this mission, sign up because this is how we'll let you know next time. And this is how we also follow up with where to find things if you aren't on Facebook. So, sorry to ruin that because that was such a lovely moment. And you took me right back there under that tree. And again, like, it's just so beautiful. Like we all know this, but it's like these layers. Someone had put that in the chat and I loved that, right? It's just like these layers of connection that, that lemon tree is now with us, right? We all are a part of those roots.
Yep.
So shall we, so that we can get a chance to hear from all of you, let me share the prompt. And then my favorite part, besides hearing the poems, is when we get to hear from you with your ideas. Okay, so secret agents. Today's mission, should you choose to accept it, and we hope you do,
Dun 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 dun.
our mission asks that you put on your Ripple Vision deep dive readers and see beyond the surface of things. Just like Rosemerry went back in time to thank the lineage of people who made it possible for Shell's book to land in her hands, or how she used her X-ray vision to remember to thank the lemon tree's roots for its scented blossoms, you too will sift through sands of time and space to offer gratitude and love to someone or something that spawned a friend you love, an artwork you cherish, a song, a hope, or a beautiful moment. Operation Legacy Effect invites us to offer gratitude from the bottom up. We're using our own Wayback Machines to acknowledge and honor unsung heroes. We're also being legacy ambassadors so that we can remind others in anonymous ways to express gratitude once removed, which was Rosemary's. I love that you coined that phrase. So I'm going to give you a couple examples that things I've already, experienced in my life, and then a few thoughts that I had, and then we'll open it up. So here's just a couple examples of things that I've done in the past. So I love to write letters to people's parents. It's one of my favorite things to do in life. So writing a thank you letter to someone's mom or dad to let them know why we love their child and how that person has impacted our lives. I also once was sipping tea with a friend, and she had a beautiful collection of teacups. And the one that I was sipping from, was a gift to her from an 11-year-old friend, a neighbor of hers. And so I wrote a note. I took a picture just of my hand with a teacup and sent an anonymous letter to that person to thank him for gifting her with that teacup. I also similarly was once with a good friend, Kirsten, and she's an amazing baker, and she had this beautiful um, antique tin that she put the cake in that she was bringing to our outing. And it just delighted me to no end. It was like so gorgeous. And that had been a gift to her from someone. So I wrote a letter to the person who gave her the tin and sent a photo of that tin sort of out in the wild, like bringing delight to the world. Couple other ideas that dropped in while I was thinking about this mission. One of the things that many of you do that, of course, we love because it promotes poetry in the world. So it's like printing these poems, which you will get. Um, so the one that Rosemary wrote under the lemon tree, we have a sock theme going on here. I know Peter's here somewhere. I hope he is. But there you are, Peter. We now have a sock theme within our group that has just happened organically. But I love that. I love that we've already had sock things going on in our missions. And now this one, the one that mentions the socks, the lemon tree, you could print out that poem and bundle it with a sweet pair of socks or, something and leave that with a note that says something to the effect of, you never know how a small act or a style choice might change someone's life, live the ripples. And I'm gonna pause here for a sec because Rosemary and I had an idea. Sometimes I make printables for these, and I'm happy to do that again for these. But we have so many creative people in this group, and I just want to say that to you. If we mention something like this, like, oh, a note with a poem, and you feel inspired to create something that other people could use, we would love that. We would really love that. So, because I know I've seen some of the beautiful things that many of you have created. So, this was one where it's like it would be nice to have that little note that people could just print out if they wanted to. You could also print out her poem and a note about roots, so you could leave her poem and a little note that says something like this, the roots below are hard at work for the beauty above. Who or what are the roots of your joy today? And leave that under a tree. We seem to love to leave things out in the wild for people to find, and that's one that you could do. You could also, I know people in this group leave painted stones or hearts or different things like that, along with that poem and a little note to remind people that, think about the roots. You could write anonymous thank you notes addressed to someone from history. They don't have to be alive. And, it could be about someone who influenced you, and stick those in books in the library or little free libraries. You could paint a pretty scene of someone planting an apple tree or a lemon tree and, write something like, thank you to the person that planted the tree that grew this fruit, and leave those hidden in your market underneath the apples or the lemons. So, oh, and the last idea I had was like, I love little free libraries. I talk about them all the time. You could leave notes inside books in little free libraries, something, this book only exists because someone told someone else, yes, do it. Who do you want to encourage today? So that someone finding, that note in the book will remember the roots and the lineage. So, and then just a little bit of list to get you thinking, and then I can't wait to open it up. But it's like, so here are a few places to look for this kind of legacy effect. Mothers, fathers, guardians, spouses, caregivers, mentors, teachers, coaches, editors, publishers, anyone who's kind of a behind the scenes cheerleader for someone that we have been impacted by. Musicians, authors, poets, artists who may have deeply influenced someone we love who has then impacted us. Anyone who's a first, a trailblazer, a rebel, some of those people who have been courageous throughout history, like Rosemary pointed to in her first poem. It also could be people who are out there doing the work that's kind of behind the scenes, janitors, bus drivers, librarians, people who are out there supporting the rest of the world to do other work. And I'm looking at Peter. I saw you, Peter. There you are. Because I can't see Peter without thinking of his beautiful missions time and again, thanking the people who pick up the garbage bins in the mornings. So that's my prompt. As you might guess, it's we're looking for the behind, right? We're looking for that gratitude once removed, as Rosemerry coined. So, Rosemerry, do you want to say anything before we open it up?
I'll just say that I put all the things that Sherry just said in the chat bar so that you could read along with all those ideas for missions. And we'll have them also in the Facebook group. And Sherry, can you send them out to an email? So an email that'll have the mission, but also all the poems that we read today. All two of them. We'll have all two of them will be there. Uh, so yes, just how do we think about a long ago something that it doesn't have to be long ago though. I mean, I think it could be long ago, but I don't think these things also happen in real time. Just how quickly somebody who has done something that's really profoundly affected you and then the person who affected them, that could be just yesterday. It doesn't have to be a long ago thing too.
Exactly. And so people, there's a raise hand icon at the bottom, or if you don't see that, it might be under the react button so that you can raise your virtual hand. Since we can't really see all of you at once. And oh, Penny asked, how do we access the Facebook page? It is Secret Agent.
Secret agents of change. I'll put a link. I'll find it right now and put a link in the chat bar.
Thank you,
But you
Rosemary.
can also just find it by going to Facebook and looking up Secret Agents of Change.
So, oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, one of the best things to me about this group is the amazing creativity. So Rosemary and I have our origin stories for how we come up with these. And then they grow and grow and grow, right? Just because you often will bring things that we didn't even see about it. So if anyone has, I mean, if you have just, it could be a comment, it could be a little flicker of an idea. We love to hear. Oh, where's my friend Ren? I see you. I'm asking you to unmute. It should let you, dear. There you are.
Okay. Well, immediate. Sorry, I'm getting choked up.
Oh,
Immediately, which this is not a secret anymore, but it just came to me. My friend Lisa was part of Living Compassion Monastery, and they had a thing that was free called Seeing Through the Eyes of Change. Excuse me. And so I listened to that. So then I started getting involved with this monastery. And lo and behold, someone named Sherry Rickards Blue had little commercials speaking to us about her maybe say it now or simply celebrate stuff. And I'm like, I want to check this out. So I went on there. And then I believe it was like around COVID. I joined one of Sherry's little coaching groups, which is still going, and it's about 5 or 6 of us, and they've become just the most dearest people. And then through that, I learned about Rosemary, and my life is forever impacted by you guys. I'm gonna stop, but yeah, the butterfly effect, like, hmm, and I just love it all.
So, Ren, that was gorgeous. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And there it is. There's that whole effect. So, like for the mission, I wonder if you could write a thank you to what was it called? The Friends of Compassion, what was the compassionate group's name?
yeah, living compassion. Yeah, you can, yeah, okay. It's called Living Compassion, right?
So maybe something that you could write to Living Compassion and say, hey, this thing that you were doing all that time ago, this is how it's unfolded. Or, maybe take something to the people who volunteer there, like leave an anonymous basket of fruit, or I'm making things up, but some way to honor them and say, look at the seed, look what seeds you planted, and this is some of the ways they flourished.
Or I think it was even one step removed, right? Which would be the wonderful person Lisa,
Yeah.
who none of us, I don't think she's here right now, but wow, do I love that person so much.
Thank you, Lisa.
I could write a letter to Lisa just to
Right.
write like so. I might do that. Yeah. So thank you so much, Ren. That was beautiful.
Oh, and look, Jimmy even put the livingcompassion.org link in there. Thanks, Jimmy.
Oh, that was sweet.
Anyone else have ideas for how to carry out mission legacy effect? Peter.
You should be able to unmute, Peter. Will it let you?
Let's see.
There you
Got it.
Can you talk to me?
We got ya.
Every time it's a struggle bus. So, Rosemary, is your mom on here today?
I haven't seen her, but I'm gonna look right now.
Because this involves her. Um, so Rosemary and I were good friends when we were in high school. And I say that I always feel a little like weird, like I'm name dropping. Like, well, last time I was speaking to Lady Catherine de Bourgh, um, but this memory has stuck with me, and I was just thinking about it a couple times just recently. And so one day, I got on over to Rosemary's house, and her mom was planting flowers on the hill just above her house. She was just in their planter boxes there, and Rosemary and I were going to go do something, um, and her sweet mother asked, "Well, can you guys spend 20 minutes with me planting flowers?" And I don't know what we had going on, but we didn't. I said, I think it fell down to me, and I kind of shook it off, and we didn't do it. I have felt guilty about that my entire life. I don't know why, but that just stuck with me. We should have stayed and spent 20 minutes with Rosemary's sweet mother planting flowers, um, and we didn't. Um, and it's funny because it just kind of occurred to me. I had never really thought about it, but I think that has come back to me a number of times in my life when something came up where somebody wanted a little help and it was really not what I wanted to do or kind of inconvenient. And I thought, this time I'm going to stay and plant flowers. Um, so I was thinking about that and how when you're talking about this legacy effect, I don't know how many people I felt. It probably, it's not like I'm a great help in this world, but it is, it's something that, it was not. I wonder if your mom remembers this. She might still remember. I didn't even plant flowers with me. Um, but um, but I was thinking in preparing for today, it's like, I wonder if I could go get some flowers, some pots, plant them, and then take them around to people. Problem with doing that is everybody has a camera, and so they're going to catch you. If you leave it on the doorsteps or whatever. So I'm trying to figure that out. But I think that I'm going to do that. I'm going to get some flowers and plant them. Um, remembering the time I didn't, and then I'm going to go around and just find some people who maybe could use a little color in their life.
That's a gorgeous way to carry out this mission. I can promise you that my mom, if she ever was bothered, would have forgiven you
No,
decades ago. But I love how you bring this up, and other people have written in the chat bar too that these missed opportunities often are some huge opportunities for our own growth. What a gorgeous way for this legacy of, oh, I wish I had to be a way that, oh, I can do this. I'm just thinking, who else could you pull into your mission so that they would get caught on a camera instead of you?
oh, there you go.
Oh, right.
you know, that it would be somebody that they wouldn't necessarily know, right? Like,
Right.
could you find partners and you can do it? You can be the one with the people they don't know, and they could be the one with.
Maybe I could send my law clerk out. Yes, yeah, I make him do all the hard stuff anyway. So yeah, there's an idea.
Oh, you guys, I love what's happening, right? Like it's like so first of all, it is somebody wrote it was so beautiful, right? It's a different kind of legacy, right? Those things that we regret. But then here we are, time, right? They say time is not linear, right? So it's like right here in the moment, you're planting flowers. It's Julie. Is it Julie? Am I right?
Julie,
Yes, Julie. Yep.
You're planting flowers with and for Julie. And then to bring in your law clerk to introduce that person to secret agent work. It's so gorgeous all the way around. And then the people who get to see those flowers and you know, because they're sitting somewhere.
I love it. That's a fabulous mission. And it's such a, and it's a beautiful way to create a new kind of legacy out of that memory.
Thank you
and
so much, Peter. That brought a whole different layer.
big hugs.
And Kristen, and then Michelle.
Kristen, you should let me get you. Well, do you have a little message to there you are.
Here I am. I wanted to point out, though, I also saw someone in the chat wants to share, Jan, and I don't want her to get lost.
Oh, thank
So
you.
either she can share now or right after me, whatever's more convenient. I don't want her to get lost in the chat.
Kristen, you are so beautiful. How about if you go and then we'll find Jan?
Okay, that sounds good. So, oh my gosh, so many ideas. Thank you all. I love this so much. And there were a couple that came to mind. One is there's a park I go walking almost every day. And when I see the maintenance guys, I always thank them. However, you can amp that up to another level because some of what you've shared just goes so perfectly with roots and growing. And these are the people that take care of the trees there, and they take care of the plantings and mowing and all of that. So I'm thinking maybe trying to, the anonymous part might be a little bit of a challenge, I'm not sure, but I know that there's an area where they have a picnic table sort of behind the scenes. And I'm thinking maybe I can plant something that closes tight, because I don't want the animals to get in it either, but something, maybe a tin with some sort of treats in it for them. And then and of course, a thank you for all that they do to help things grow. And I'm thinking it actually might be really cool to leave the poem, because who knows what that might inspire for them. And thinking about maybe what are they thinking about as they're planting things, or what, who inspired them maybe to love the land like they love the land, something like that. And the other thing I thought of was farmers. I live in an area where you drive 20 minutes and there's just all of these, still many of them family owned farms, and doing some sort of thank you for them, like, it's because of you I get to eat this really great food. So I'm still cogitating what that might look like, but I really want to thank them, because it's becoming so hard to still be a family-run farm economically, and just to let them know they're not forgotten and how much they are appreciated. So I'm still thinking about what that could look like.
Those are gorgeous missions, Kristen. Really beautiful, just ways to think about how all this beauty and how it affects all these people in the park, and then to what's behind that beauty. Who are the people who are making that happen? That's really beautiful. And again, with the food, who is making it possible to eat this food, and at what cost to them and their own family? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That was beautiful. Before we go to Michelle, we do see you, Michelle. Thank you. Jan, I'm looking for you.
I think I asked Jan to mute. I just did
Oh,
it again.
good. Oh,
Is it Jan Hag? There
no,
she
it's
is.
Jan Paradise.
Oh, two Jans.
Two Jans for the price of one. And
Jan,
Jan,
do you have your, I see you're unmuted.
Hi, this is Jan Haig, but I think it was the other Jan, so let her go.
Okay.
But I'm happy to talk too, but go to her first.
thank you, Jan, the other Jan. Paradise, if you happen to see that raise hand button at the bottom, that will help us find you. But otherwise, I'm still looking.
All right. Well, you're looking, then we'll have Michelle jump on in. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you.
Hi, friends. Wow. Isn't this amazing? I just spent a week with Daniel and Rosemary, and I've been following her poems for 5 years now. And I was thinking, what a wonderful, like I had started a business um, 11 years ago and then really moved it into the other level 5 years ago as a result of an incredible loss in my life. And my idea was, and I thought, well, that's not really secret, but the effects of it. And my idea was to really capture the leaders, and I call it Leader Cast. And it appeals to the leaders of these particular organizations that have been incredibly helpful to me over the course of my life, but in particular 12 years ago. And then when I had some more loss 5 years ago. And the idea was if I could capture the leaders of the organizations and give them some thanks and praise and respite, then they would then pass that on to they would, number one, they would be introduced to each other, and number two, they would then pass that on to the recipients, down, because that was where I spent most of my time doing my work. And it has turned into, it's been going for 5 years now. And, and it was like, and scholarship, and I left it, things have been offered, and I left it, and people said, well, we want to send you, our participants are asking, who's responsible for this, and we want to send you. And I said, no, 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 you can't tell them who I am. And like it has to be. And and then there have been other times where I've opened that up because I really have needed some kind of, not anonymous, but I've needed some that I'm on the right track here, from the participants. So, but mostly it's been no, 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 you can't tell them who is responsible for this or the organization that is responsible for this. You get to keep the secret and you be responsible for the secret, and then you pass it on the way that makes the most sense for your participants. But on a more individual, and that's been a more global, larger thing, and it really has been amazing. So I've gotten to know that there are women veterans in Montana, because their male veteran program, their women veterans' wives that will benefit from the work. And I don't ever have to meet those women, but possibly I could. I've gotten to know that there are veterans scattered across the country that are being introduced to yoga, and I don't have to meet them, but maybe I could. Different things like that. But on a more individual level, I started people that have signs in their yard for particular things. And there's a church that had something, or they have just really put a lot of thought to their mailbox, or their yard brought me a particular sense of beauty. And so I started carrying cards in my car and just stop and put it in. Now I found out that it's illegal to put unregistered mail in a mailbox, so I don't know if that's a good thing, but I don't want it to get wet, and I don't know when, and I feel, and I don't want to be tramping across somebody's yard unnoticed, but I put anonymous notes in people's mailbox. When I noticed something that really brought me some joy, just driving by. And sometimes I've had to back up, like I had to go all the way around the block to go, you know what, that brought you a lot of joy in the moment and you passed it by and it's still bugging you. I've even gone a mile down the road and then turned around and driven all the way back to let them know how much I appreciated what they had. So those couple ideas. So thank you for letting me share that. And I'm glad to know there's other secret agents out there that are doing just incredible work in the world. It just gives me so much hope. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for those ideas. And those ideas plus anything anybody does, if you're promoting the mission, please report about it in our Facebook group because it's so fun to read about what people are doing, especially Michelle, like if you could take a picture of the mailbox and your little note, maybe right beneath it with a rock on it or something, but to sometimes seeing those pictures too, or just telling the story of this is how I carried out the mission. When people report back in the Facebook group, it's like reading the best newspaper in the world, friends. It's the newspaper you dreamed of that could exist, that tells you only about how great people can be and all the lovely things that people are doing for each other. Did you find Jan Paradise, darling?
I did click to ask her to unmute so she can. I just want to say a quick in between in hopes that Jan will join us. Which is a couple just that people have been posting, some different questions and ideas in the chat. And I just wanted to say, if you're not in the Facebook group, that's okay. You can email me or respond to one of Rosemary's poems and reach us that way, and we can post for you. If you're having questions you want to brainstorm and you don't want to share today, and you are in the Facebook group, that's a great place to brainstorm. I love what happens there in the engagement. So just wanted to answer a couple of those questions. So we try to make it so that you can participate no matter what. And Jan, I did ask that you unmute. If you're here and you could start talking.
Okay, hi Sherry. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, yes, our elusive Jan, we found you.
Thank you so much to both you and Rosemary for having this today. This is wonderful. I was introduced to it through a friend. I don't know if she's here today. I just call her C. So I don't know if she's here. But anyway, this was so fun. I can just explain that I've been thinking about doing this for quite some time. I have a friend, I haven't seen her in 53 years. I'm 70 now. We went to college together. And to find her, I went on Facebook. I couldn't find her there, but I found one of her sons and found out that my friend's husband had passed. He had ALS. And I think both of her sons started a company in honor of their dad, my friend's husband, that actually install things for people who are disabled. At the point right now, I'm not disabled, but I live in a condo and I have 17 stairs up to get to my condo. So I want to stay here. And for future reference, I'd like to have a lift chair installed in my condo up the stairs. So I really want to get in touch with her. I'm just now starting to write a letter to her and I can't wait for her to receive it and hopefully respond. So that's my taking up on a mission. Thank you.
That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. And I see how, like, all of those layers of how that's all, it'd be interesting to write the letter to her sons also, and just, and they won't know who you are, right? But because of this friend that you had and then you were looking for, and now you found them and this beautiful thing, and just to write an anonymous letter of, hey, you don't know me, but I know what you do and you're amazing. That's incredible. Thank you. I feel like that would be a beautiful way to carry it out too.
Thank you.
I love that. And to add to that, I was also thinking of like a way to surreptitiously, promote their business. If you hear of someone else in your complex that needs this, work, or you can somehow post online, again, it doesn't, I know that's not anonymous online posting, but you can put a note on a community board, or thinking of a way to support them in the way that they're supporting the world.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Great ideas. Thank you both. Excellent.
I see Nancy. Nancy, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hi, thank you for doing this. This is my first time. I just kind of saw the notice on Rosemary's one of her emails, and I just wanted to share something that's happened to me in the past. It's something that I've always thought I'd like to reciprocate, but have not figured out how to do it. But I do other things instead. My husband passed away, and it's been like 18 years, so it's been a long time. But this still moves me so much. He had passed away at the end of September, and that Christmas, so my daughter and I all were home one night, and all of a sudden the doorbell rings, and we go and look, and there's no one there, but there's a present at the door. There's something at the door, so we pick it up, and we're like, "What is this?" And it was I forget what the thing was, but it was just one little sweet gift. And we're like, we have no idea who this is from, that this is interesting. But it cheered us up for receiving that. And then the next night, the same thing. And then there were two presents. And then something with three. And we finally realized it was like a 12 days of Christmas.
Oh,
So every day there was a different gift, and with the right number, that coordinating number of things in it, like seven could be like seven cookie cutters, Christmas cookie cutters, just little things. They weren't, it didn't have to be big things, but it was so meaningful to us. But the one thing that I still I cry when I think of it, is so my daughter and I, we started thinking, oh, we should, watch out the window. How can we figure out who's doing this? And then I thought about it, and I said, I don't want to know who did it, because I can look at everybody that I meet in the world, friends, strangers, and they could be this kind, beautiful person who helped us get through our first Christmas alone. So I just always remembered that, and it was just something just so sweet, and I didn't want to know who it was. So I just wanted to share that.
Oh, Nancy, thank you so much. It's so beautiful. And I love where you got to in the end of like, yeah, I don't want to know. And also you planted that seed for us. I know, other people have said, oh, people have cameras. Not everyone has cameras, and we can sneak things. I've snuck things on people's porches, those thank you notes that actually I just see Barbara has her hand up, that Barbara inspired me to do for people's yards and flowers. You just sneak them on the porch, and I love that. Thank you.
Today happens to be my husband's birthday, so
What's his name?
oh,
Bill,
Bill. Hmm.
we'll celebrate Bill today. Thank you, Nancy.
thank you. Thank you,
Well,
Jen.
I'm almost thinking, there's the opportunity in there too, like Peter was saying about the missed opportunity to help plant flowers all those years ago, but just how to carry forward, that little kindness. Is there a way? Is there someone who who's recently lost someone? Um, and I'm just trying to think about with the legacy effect, how that might work too. Um, hmm. I don't know how to tie that in. I guess this would be a totally separate idea, but if there was somebody who like you're that you did remember who, was very helpful for you at that time. And then you think of the person that was supporting them, and you write them an anonymous note that says, "Hey, I know how you support this person, and they supported me," and you leave cookie cutters on their door or something. You see what I like, that just that little loop. But just leaving just that whole idea of what happens when we have that anonymous gift, and how beautiful that is when we feel so seen and met by it could be anyone. Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
And Rosemary, I just wanted to add, like, so the other thing, because I did think that part of this mission can be us being those ambassadors for this kind of gratitude. So if we do, like, let's say I was inspired by that and I leave a gift for someone who's recently lost someone. And
Right.
I say this is in honor of that angel, right, who supported Nancy back, something like that. So
That is gorgeous. Exactly. That's so pretty. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
even though we don't know that person's name, we can bring that honoring and bring that legacy forward.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yep.
And I
Gorgeous.
see Barbara, and Barbara, you were on my mind. I wasn't sure if you were here, but I have used your Barbara talk about the legacy effect, right? Barbara talked about leaving notes for neighbors who had beautiful flowers in their yards, back to flowers. And I adopted that mission thanks to you. Yeah.
Yay, yay. Well, thank you. I always get so inspired and uplifted, particularly now when, boy, couldn't we all use a lot of inspiration and uplift. I'm thinking about a pay it forward kind of effect of this. This morning, I just hadn't thought about this in decades, but when I was in college decades ago, I worked as a cleaning lady in a hospital. And one day, a woman, an elderly woman who had been in for quite a long time, left, she was discharged and left me a handwritten note thanking me for keeping her room so clean. How nice, because the cleaning people, that's a crummy job. And nobody says thank you. So now that I'm older and I have old lady bladder, I visit every public restroom I come across these days. So I'm going to write a whole bunch of thank you notes and stick whatever cash I've got at hand in these notes and stuff them in my purse. And then you know how they have their cleaning carts?
Yes.
Yeah. How easy will this be? Stick it there, and I've got a whole bunch of rubber duckies because I've expropriated the Jeep ducking trend where people, if you like your Jeep, notice if you see Jeeps around, they'll have little rubber ducks on their dashboards. Well, now I'm starting to duck everywhere I go. So these cleaning people are going to start to get, and I'm traveling soon. So I'll be in airports, and cleaning airport bathrooms has got to be one of the worst jobs on the planet. So thank you. I never would have thought of this. That's got fun.
That's gorgeous. And you are going to bring so much joy with those duckies and those cards full of whatever little cash you have on hand, that I can't imagine how great that's going to feel to somebody. Oh,
Barbara, do you
Barbara, what a
remember
great
the name?
idea.
Do you remember the name of the person who wrote you that initial card? Just her first name?
No, no, oh my
Because I was
God.
going to say that's also right. So again, I was thinking for myself to do things in honor of her, which we can still do even if we don't know her name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I will, because that was that first kindness. I didn't even know she even, acknowledged me, recognized me. I mean, poor woman, she had a bit more things to think about than this teenage kid cleaning her room.
Oh, thank you. Rosemary, let me check in with you. I know we're at time, but I also saw that Jan had her hand up, and I'm not sure if shall we stay a few extra minutes? Are people okay with
Let's
that?
stay a few extra minutes for Jan. If you need to go, of course, we understand, and we'll look forward to having you share it in our Facebook group. What kinds of things, what kinds of ways you might want to carry forth this mission. But Jan, since we have you, let's go ahead and hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you. Rosemary, love your stuff. Been a longtime fan, of course, and I've been to a number of seminars with you. I also write a poem a day, and I often do them when I'm traveling on airplanes. I bring a Sharpie and I write them on the back of the barf bag, and I'll usually write a poem in flight, right? So, and then I give it to somebody was mentioning airline attendants, and I give it to an airline attendant. Sometimes I've left them in the seat pocket, right? And one time, and I sign my name and I put my email address usually on it. They're not great poems. It doesn't matter. Something about the clouds or whatever I'm, thinking about it in that moment. And one time, somebody sent my poem back to me, who had been the person cleaning the airplane, and they had found it, and they just throw those things away. Whatever they find in the seat pockets, they throw them away. But they found the poem. They saw my name. They hung on to it. Actually, I don't think they sent it back to me. I think they took a picture and sent me an email, as I recall now, and said something about I kept your poem. And I was so touched by that. I had not even thought about the person cleaning the airplane. I was thinking about the attendants working in the plane. And I still love that, and I still do that. And even if it's just a thank you note, thank you for doing what you do. It might be even somebody who sits in that seat next. You never know. So that's what I do. Thank you.
That's very sweet. I love the barf bag aspect of it too. There's something really tickling about that. Turning something very functional like that into something that's, well, art actually. An opportunity for kindness, an opportunity to be surprised. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Thanks, Jan, for that.
And as someone who gets ill on airplanes frequently, I would just like to say, like, how beautiful is that? Like, what if someone just, even drew a flower or, just a little note like, sorry, you're not feeling well. You know what I mean? Thank you, Jan. Oh, goodness, you guys, that time flew so fast. I'm just delighted to be here with all of you and with my beautiful co-spy master. Thank you.
Thank you, secret agents. Thank you. All right. Cannot wait to see how you carry out this mission, Operation Legacy Effect. And please, please, please report back in the Facebook group. It's so much fun to see how people carry out and just bring so much joy.
And
So much
also
joy.
brainstorm. If you don't know what to do, after all this, you want to just like post in there. We love to do that. And again, those people who aren't on Facebook, you could still participate and just feel free to email Rosemerry or myself, and we'll post for you to share your stories.
Yep. Yep. Glad you mentioned that. All right, sweet friends.
We love you.
Dun, 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 dun.
Love you. Bye-bye, everybody.